Okay.
Should we start?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and get started. If you want to just give a quick intro, and then I think we can kind of take things from there.
Good thing. So, hey everyone, my name is David Matheson. I'm a software engineer, and currently I've been contracting on a tool for DerivaDEX, and it's actually interesting. I came into working with DerivaDEX through working at the associated DAO, hashes DAO. And so we built a few projects from there, and then they said, hey, there's a really interesting tool that we need to get built. And so they reached out about that, and a few months later, here we are. And so what we're going to be chatting about today is a new tool that we've created that allows the governance for diamond contracts, and also exists as an explorer tool for any contract that exists on the diamond standard. And so this is, and specifically here for DerivaDEX, it's allowing folks to create on-chain proposals for the purpose of DAO governance. Now, as everyone on the call knows, DerivaDEX is a derivatives exchange, which is DAO governed. And currently, it's super easy for DDX token holders to vote on existing proposals, but historically, it's been very difficult to create those on-chain proposals. This typically required a software developer to come in, choose the functions necessary and the corresponding inputs for those functions, and then create a transaction so that proposal lives on chain. And so this had a pretty high barrier to entry here. Now with this new tool, governance.diamonds, you can navigate to it if you'd like. With this new tool, on-chain proposals can be created in a matter of minutes by any DDX token holder that has the allotted amount of DDX either held in their wallet or delegated. So this in itself is a total game changer for democratizing the process of governance for DerivaDEX. And if you're unfamiliar with what on-chain proposals are and their use cases, on-chain proposals allow you, the token holder, to create updates to the exchange that can take place after a proposal passes. And so the next question to that would be, what are some use cases for proposals? Well, one would be perhaps a new feature needs to get built, and there's a set of folks that are going to build this. And so you could create a proposal and say, hey, we need X feature to be built on the exchange, and we need to send tokens from our DAO controlled wallet to this contractor's wallet so they can be paid for the work done. That would be one example. Another example is, there's a minimum amount of DDX that you need in your wallet to create a proposal, and you might want to create a proposal to change that. Maybe you say that the threshold is way too high, and so you want to lower it. So you as a token holder can go and create that proposal as well. And also, you could potentially even pause the exchange. So say, for instance, you feel that there's a security issue and the exchange should be paused. You as a token holder can create a proposal that says, hey, we need to pause the exchange and for X, so-and-so reason. And you can, once you get the amount of proposals or the amount of votes needed to pass that proposal, you can execute that transaction to actually pause the exchange. And so, as you can see here, this is pretty powerful. And this tool, again, it lowers the barrier to entry for the creation of proposals, and it further assists in the process of governance for DerivaDEX. Now, we've talked about on-chain proposals, but this tool itself exists as an exploration tool for understanding diamond contracts in general. And what this means is that any diamond contract address can get plugged into here to see and interact with a diamond's underlying facets and their functionalities. Facets meaning their subcontracts, I guess you could call it that.
Hey, DMath, I just wanted to
Yes.
double check. You're not screen sharing, right?
No, but I'm
Okay.
about to.
All right, cool. Got it. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, let me, let's just go ahead and let's do it live. Let me just share my screen real quick. Okay. All right, so this is the thing. So this is the intro page. Any diamond contract address can get plugged in here, and we can see and interact with its underlying functionalities. Now, moving forward here, we're going to We're going to keep building features on this to make this tool a lot more valuable to all Diamond creators, so not just DerivaDEX. And we're really open to how this tool can grow over time and what's most useful for the community and also Diamond contract users and builders alike. So if you have thoughts, those are incredibly appreciated. You can DM me, DMath. You can hit up the folks at DerivaDEX. We have a Twitter account, gov.diamonds, and also there's a feedback link as well. So we have an instance on Canny if you'd like to use that. So I'm gonna stop talking so much, and I'm gonna give you a demo and say how this thing actually works here. So we've got a short link for the DerivaDEX diamond, and so we can just click on this, so it'll go straight to it. Oh, I need to check, and I'm on my test net. I need to be not on the test net. There we go. All right, so you'll see here we've got, from the diamond contract, we have 4 individual facet contracts that are associated with it. A contract for governance, one for the insurance fund, one to potentially pause the exchange, and also the trader contract as well. So through these, we can look here, we can understand the read-only values that we have. We also have, we're pulling this in. This description here is, in technical terms, it's known as the NAT spec, but this is basically, this is kind of like the text that basically explains what this individual facet is. So it says here that this facet contract to the DerivaDEX proxy, it handles the logic pertaining to governance. I guess we could kind of deduce that ourselves, but it's good to have it. It's good to have it front and center. And so we can check out these individual read-only values that already exist. Right now, of course, we're going to be parsing these out to make these a lot more human readable, but you can get the understanding of, hey, this is how many proposals have been created on the diamond. Okay, that's good for me to know. So we have the quorum function count, vote count given the quorum percentage. And so we have these read-only values, and we also have our read-only functions. And so we can click into these, and then we can go and we can check things out. So I could say, let me go and, let's see, I've been working on a test net, so let me get the latest proposal. Let me get the first proposal. Let me see if I can submit and find out, get some results back from. So I'm getting some results back from my individual proposal. Now, if you're like non-technical, this is not necessarily like the most readable thing at this moment, but we're getting there. And so once again, this is a work in progress, and you can create proposals, but we're going to be continually working to get this a lot more human readable. So let's get on down to the main event. So we have individual proposal functions. Say, for example, we want to set the number of votes needed for a proposal to pass. We got this right here. This is super helpful. It must be called via governance. We can't do it ourselves. And so what we could do is we look here, we have a current value, and maybe we want to say, hey, I think there should be 500 votes to pass it, to pass this, to pass the proposal. We can go ahead, we can add this to our draft, and it saves it. And we can check out our actual proposal draft, and we can see here that this is what we're going to propose. Here, I don't have the amount of DDX in my wallet, but I do have another instance that we're gonna actually demo this out. You can go ahead and you can write a description. This is super useful because you're not necessarily, maybe you would like to get buy-in from others before you go and submit this proposal. So what you could do is say, hey everyone, this is a live demo where I'm explaining why, and so you could have your description in here, and then you could go and you could copy that out. And so then if you're in Discord, you can say, hey, this is what I'm specifically looking to propose, and this is what I'm looking to do. That way you can kind of get buy-in. So that's super helpful. But where were we? But yeah, so that's kind of the long and short of it. But what we're going to do is right now this is on mainnet, and as you know, it probably costs a little bit to do a proposal on mainnet. I don't know the folks at DerivaDEX would like that. So we have this is our testnet instance. And so this is a new contract, a new Diamond contract. And let me switch real quick. And we are going to demo the actual creation of a proposal. So for the instance, for this demo, let's do something juicy here. So let's pause the exchange. So right now we can look here, we clicked on the pause facet. We look to see if the exchange is paused. It is not. And so what we want to do is we do want to set it as pause. So we're going to add that to the draft. Now, in addition to that, we're going to send some test USDC over to one of my burners. One of these burner accounts. Okay, cool. All right, cool. And, oh, 1 second. Let's see. We're going to need some test USDC, which we have right here. So I can plug that in. I can say, all right, for an ERC20 token transfer, let's see. We have a bunch of various ERC20 tokens that you can select. Like say, for example, we've got DerivaDEX. But in this case, we don't have anything on our list. So we can use this provided address. And nice, it shows us how much of this token that we actually have. So I want to send 20. I want to send 20 test USDC again to my address. And this isn't the connected address, by the way. This is just another account. So we're going to add that to the draft as well. So currently what we have in our proposal, if we want to view our draft, is we are going to pause the exchange, and then we are going to send to this address, we're going to send 20 test USDC, as we see here. So if I wanted to write, a description on what the proposal is, I could do that here. And now we're going to go and we're going to submit the proposal. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. All right. So we can view our proposal transaction. Wait for that to occur. I'm sure that my MetaMask is going to open up in my other window, so you're just going to have to trust me there. We'll be waiting for a sec. And after this proposal is created, we're going to vote on it. So go over here. Now, whenever I vote on this, in this test instance, because right now again we are on the Corley network, I have a connected wallet that has a lot of DDX, and so for the instance of this test, I'm able to pass it with one vote. Obviously, of course, you can't typically pass it with one vote, but I just wanted to throw that out there so folks are aware. So let's see what's going on with our transaction. Okay, is that our transaction? Everything? Oh, maybe one of my notifications just didn't come through. Okay. All right, so we've got our proposal. If we look here, we have our proposal count is 32. So now let's cast a vote in this tool itself. So let's go to proposal ID. As we know, the latest one, 32. We're going to say true. I do want to vote for this. So I'm going to go in here, and now we're going to vote. This is our individual result, but I'm waiting for MetaMask. And then after we cast this vote as true, then we're going to be able to queue this vote, set this proposal up to be queued, so it's queued up to be executed, and then we will execute. So it doesn't happen automatically. After the vote passes, the vote needs to be queued, and then the proposal needs to be queued, and then the proposal needs to be executed. And I will show you that in just a second. whatever reason, my notifications don't seem to be coming through. But we will just give it a minute. It should be fine. Let's actually just go and look on the board. Okay, so we proposed it, and now we've voted upon it, and so we should be good to go there. So now, after this, since this vote has theoretically passed, then we should be able to go in, queue it, and then execute it. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. Now, after we run this execute function, what we're looking here, let's see, if we scroll down to the token holders, this is me currently. So I've got 40 of this test USDC. I should have 50 of this USDC, and of course the exchange itself should be shown as paused. So it looks like our queue method, we're good to go there. And so next up, we need to execute it. So let's go ahead and execute this transaction, or execute this proposal so it occurs. And then after that, we should be good to go. All right. And of course, typically you have a MetaMask notification, but for whatever reason now, since I'm presenting, my notifications are a little off, so apologies on that. But it appears that it has been executed. Great. So if I go here, and let's just pray that Etherscan has updated, I should have 50 USDC. I have 60 USDC. Oh, I'm sorry. I sent 20 USDC, not 10. Thanks. Great. So we have the test USDC in our new account as we expected, or in our burner account, and also the exchange itself should be paused. So if we refresh this, the exchange should be shown as paused, being true. And that's a short demo here. So what we've seen is the ability as a token holder to explore various facets or subcontracts or facet contracts that exist on a diamond. We're able to look at read-only values at a glance, and we're also able to create on-chain proposals through either making facet state changes like pausing the exchange or actually doing token transfers. One thing that I didn't mention is that not only ERC20 transfers, but we also have the ability to do ETH transfers. And so this more or less concludes the demo of this tool. And once again, it's governance.diamonds. If you'd like, you can reach us. Follow us on Twitter at gov.diamonds. And of course, for all of one follower. And of course, for the feedback tool, we have a Candy instance as well. So we can, so if you have feedback, please, any of those avenues work for us. And so thank you so much for joining in. And I'd like to open the floor for any and all questions you have.
First of all, thanks, DMath. That was, I think, a pretty comprehensive walkthrough and introduction to like the project and my what's pretty cool about it. One thing that I kind of want to point out is that although all of the contracts for DerivaDEX are on chain so far and have been for some time, this is an interface that really kind of lets people with less technical background, as opposed to using another developer tool, something like Remix or something like, it's a little bit more difficult to understand and to use, this allows people to basically not just see things about the contracts, like for example, to make sure that the number of proposals is actually 9. So this is like a way to like really confirm that there's not like some kind of malicious proposal that's been brought in that's somehow not being reflected in the other UI. There's kind of like 2 ways to kind of check this now that are non-technical. And it also lets you build proposals, which is, I think, something that we really haven't seen too many other products that enable that. I think like you'll find examples for, creating proposals for multi-sigs to kind of send value back and forth, which this is also capable of, but this is something that really lets you create proposals for other arbitrary functions in the diamond, which is pretty unique in my opinion. But right now, for example, this also lets users inquire into like what funds are currently being held in the insurance fund, and that's like on mainnet right now, what kind of funds are under control of the DAO, as well as create proposals and ERC20 token sends for things to do with those funds. So this is something that should make the DAO a lot more empowered to kind of kick off projects, fund them, and create proposals around them, regardless of the development of the rest of the protocol. So that's something that I think I just wanted to hammer home because I think it's really neat. But yeah. Passing the floor back over to questions in case people have them.
Yeah, I'd be curious to get folks' thoughts.
Well, it may be the kind of thing people have to kind of play around with it themselves. So I guess just to kind of emphasize, what's the URL? It's governance.diamonds. Is that right?
Yep. Governance.diamonds.
Diamonds.
Mm-hmm. And once again, you can plug in any diamond address, so it doesn't necessarily have to be DerivaDEX. But yeah, I'm sure that there's going to be, folks that have some time to spend on this, and if what feedback you do have, please send it on over to the associated channels, and we'd love to chat.
Yeah, and I also just want to remind people that like there's delegation is available on the governance.derivadex.com page. So if there's some out-of-band coordination that can happen so that you or some other delegate can achieve kind of the minimum voting threshold, that's one way to get there without outright holding the governance token. And if you create these drafts, those are also things that can kind of just be taken and shared around. So it's possible for someone to build a proposal, put that in the forum and say, look, I don't have the DDX necessary to get this passed, but I think it's a really good idea. I'm putting it here so that if anybody else agrees and does have enough DDX or has been delegated enough DDX to pass this, maybe they would like to actually submit this exact proposal. So this should really like make it possible for people to kind of explore, see what's possible, and really craft some of their own on-chain proposals. As DMath mentioned, I think some of these outputs are maybe a little bit difficult for like people to parse that aren't super familiar with the code. I think that's definitely an area for feedback. So if there's areas that you have questions about or think could be annotated or documented, I think that's like a really, really helpful first step for kind of user research on this tool. So if you have time or start playing around with this, please don't be shy about sharing those feedback either in the channel or directly with DMath with the Candy tool.
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
All right, I think then we can probably wrap things up so that this is a nice short and sweet demo that we can share externally. I guess I'll just pause there to see Aditya and BinMaker. I know that you guys have worked extensively with diamond contracts. Just wanted to see if there's anything that you wanted to flag or share for people about like that specifically. It's still kind of a new and emerging standard, so I think this tool is pretty helpful to have for that, but I'm not sure maybe not, but if there's something that you guys want to add before we close, now's the time. Otherwise, no problem.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited about this tool. I think it's one thing to say you're, a decentralized exchange. It's another thing to actually open up the creation of proposals to change the exchange to, token holders, lowering the barrier to entry the way that this tool is. So yeah, I'm just really excited about kind of what this opens up for the product as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. A lot of times things are kind of like, even if they are possibly technically possible to interact with and pull, there's kind of like a security through obscurity mentality, which, since this is too complicated, probably no one will do it. And I think that really kind of bringing a tool that makes it easy is also going to kind of do away with some of that difficulty, some of that obscurity. So yeah, pretty cool. All right. Short and sweet. Any last comments for anyone? We'll drop the link and share the recording after this is finished.
Yeah, thanks again to everyone for joining. Really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, DMath. And just as a heads up for everyone who's here today, we'll probably announce this later this week, but we will be having a Twitter Spaces event next Wednesday that kind of brings together some different voices in crypto trading, from market makers to algorithmic traders to other DeFi projects, talking about what should DAOs consider and DEXs consider when deciding what trading products to list. There's a lot of things that go into that, thinking about liquidity, thinking about security risk, and DEXs, it's kind of a democratic process of kind of deciding what to list next, and it's very transparent. So that call should be pretty interesting in terms of just kind of talking through what should go into that decision-making process when people make those proposals, what changes when the proposal process is really transparent, and yeah, just hearing kind of thoughts on that from people with very different angles and motivations in the industry. So I'm looking forward to that. We'll be sharing that link in events. Many thanks to the Crypto Forager for assisting on organizing that call. But yeah, that's going to be next Wednesday. So see you there, hopefully. Any thoughts? Anything else you want to plug on that front, Crypto Forager? Otherwise, I think we can break. Okay, that's all. Thank you, everyone, and hopefully I will see you next week. Bye-bye.